The distress signal came through at 3 in the morning, ship time. Marcus Cole was sleeping in his captain's chair when the alarm pulled him back to the waking world. He rubbed his eyes and looked at the blinking light on his console. "What do we have?" he asked. His pilot, a woman named Yara with short gray hair and tired eyes, was already checking the readings. "Distress beacon. About 2 hours from our position. Deep in the Velen expanse." Marcus stretched his back and heard it crack. The Velen expanse was not a friendly place. It sat at the edge of civilized space, far from any patrol routes or safe harbors. Pirates loved it. Slavers loved it even more. Honest ships stayed away. "Could be a trap," said Dex, the ship's engineer. He was a large man with hands that could fix anything and a face that trusted nothing. "Pirates use fake beacons all the time out here. We go in, we get surrounded, we lose everything." Marcus nodded. Dex was right. It was the smart thing to ignore the signal and keep moving. Their ship, the Dusty Horizon, was a salvage vessel. It was not built for fighting. It was built for finding broken things and selling them for parts. But something felt different about the signal. "Run the frequency again," Marcus said. Yara did as he asked. Her eyes went wide. "Captain, this is a Zithrani royal frequency. High-level encryption. This is not a pirate trick. The Zithrani were one of the most powerful species in the galaxy. They controlled hundreds of worlds and commanded fleets that could burn entire systems. Their royal family was protected by the best soldiers money could buy. If someone with a royal frequency was sending a distress call, something had gone very wrong." "How far did you say?" Marcus asked. 2 hours. He stood up from his chair. "Take us in." Dax grabbed his arm. "Captain, think about this. Even if it is real, we are talking about the Zithrani. They do not like outsiders. They do not trust humans. If we show up and they think we had anything to do with whatever happened, they will kill us first and ask questions never." Marcus looked at his old friend. He understood the fear. The Zithrani were not known for their kindness or their patience. They saw the galaxy as a place of transactions and power. Everything had a price. Everyone had an angle. "Someone is out there dying," Marcus said. "That is all I need to know." The Dusty Horizon changed course and flew toward the signal. 2 hours later, they found the wreckage. A Zithrani diplomatic cruiser floated among the asteroids, torn apart like paper in a storm. Burn marks covered its hull. Escape pods had been launched, but Marcus could see they had been destroyed before they got far. Whoever did this had wanted no survivors. Life signs? Marcus asked. Yara checked her scanner. 1. Faint. In the main cabin area. Marcus grabbed his jacket and his emergency kit. Dex, keep the engines warm. Yara, watch for any other ships. If you see anyone coming, you tell me immediately. He took the small shuttle across to the ruined cruiser. The inside was dark and filled with smoke. Emergency lights flickered red and orange. Bodies lay in the hallways. Zithrani soldiers, all of them. They had fought hard. Their weapons were still in their hands. But they had been outnumbered. Marcus followed his scanner toward the life sign. He stepped over fallen walls and broken glass. The deeper he went, the worse the damage became. He found her in what used to be a royal chamber. She was young, or at least she looked young. The Zithrani lived for hundreds of years, so it was hard to tell. Her skin was pale blue, and her silver hair was stained with blood. She wore robes of deep purple, the color of the royal house. A golden mark on her forehead showed her status. This was no ordinary passenger. This was a princess. She was barely breathing. A piece of metal had cut deep into her side, and she had lost a lot of blood. Marcus did not waste time with words. He pulled out his medical kit and got to work. The wound was bad, but he had seen worse. He cleaned it, sealed it with emergency gel, and wrapped it tight. Her breathing grew stronger. Her eyes fluttered open. They were golden, like two small suns. "Ooh," she whispered. "My name is Marcus Cole," he said. "I heard your signal. I am here to help." She tried to sit up but fell back in pain. "The Korath. They attacked us. My guards. They are gone," Marcus said gently. "I am sorry, but you are alive. I am going to get you out of here." She looked at him with confusion. Marcus understood. Humans were not common in this part of space. To the Zithrani, humans were a young species, barely worth noticing. Why would a human come to save a Zithrani princess? He did not have time to explain. He lifted her carefully and carried her back through the destroyed ship. She weighed almost nothing. The Zithrani were tall and thin, built like dancers rather than fighters. When they reached the shuttle, Marcus set her down on the small medical bed. He sent a signal to Yara. "I have her. Get ready to run." "Run from what?" Yara asked. "Whoever did this. They will come back to make sure no one survived." He flew the shuttle back to the dusty horizon. As soon as he was aboard, the ship jumped to faster-than-light speed. The stars stretched into lines, and the wreckage disappeared behind them. Marcus stood over his passenger. She was sleeping now, her body trying to heal itself. He did not know her name. He did not know why the Korath had attacked her convoy. He did not know what kind of trouble he had just brought onto his ship, but he knew he had made the right choice. Dex appeared in the doorway. "The Korath Syndicate does not give up easily. If they wanted her dead, they will keep hunting until she is dead. You know that, right?" Marcus nodded. "So, what is the plan?" Marcus looked at the sleeping princess. She was alone. Her protectors were dead. She had no one left. "We take her home," he said. "We take her to Zithrani space." Dex laughed, but there was no humor in it. "That is a week away at full speed. The Korath will find us long before then. Then, we better not let them catch us." Marcus walked to the bridge and sat in his captain's chair. He looked out at the stars streaming past. Somewhere behind them, the Korath were already searching. Somewhere ahead, a mother was wondering if her daughter was still alive. He would get this princess home. He did not know how yet, but he would find a way. That was what humans did. They found a way. The princess woke on the second day. Marcus was sitting beside her bed when her golden eyes opened. "Where am I?" she asked. Her voice was weak but clear. "You are on my ship," Marcus said. "The dusty horizon. We are heading toward Zithrani space." She tried to sit up. Pain crossed her face, but she pushed through it. The Zithrani were proud. Showing weakness was not in their nature. "I am Alindra Virkith," she said, third daughter of Empress Virkith. Marcus had guessed she was important. Now he knew just how important. The Empress ruled over 200 worlds. Her daughters were among the most protected beings in the galaxy. "How did the Korath find you?" he asked. "I do not know. My route was secret. Only my mother and her advisors knew where I would be." Her hands formed fists. "Someone betrayed us." Marcus did not push further. She had lost everyone who was supposed to protect her. She had the right to her anger. "I will take you home," he said. "That is all that matters now." Alindra studied him. Her eyes moved over his worn jacket, his rough hands, his simple face. He did not look like a hero. He looked like a man who worked hard and slept little. "Why?" she asked. "Why what? Why did you come? You are human. You owe nothing to the Zithrani. Our people have never been kind to yours." Marcus shrugged. "You needed help. That was enough." She did not seem to understand. Her eyes narrowed like she was trying to solve a puzzle. With missing pieces, The next 3 days were hard. The Korath were hunting them. Their ships were faster than the dusty horizon. Their weapons were stronger. There was no way to outfight them, so Marcus had to outthink them. He knew the Velen expanse better than most. For years, he had flown these dark paths, looking for wrecks to salvage. He knew where the sensor shadows were. He knew which asteroid fields could hide a ship. He knew the tricks that kept small vessels alive when bigger ones came looking. Every few hours, Yara would call out a warning. Ship on long-range sensors. Korath, signature. And every time, Marcus would change course. He would dive into a dust cloud or hide behind a dead moon. He would shut down all systems and let the ship float cold and silent while the hunters passed by. Alindra watched all of this from the bridge. She was too weak to help, but too proud to stay in bed. She sat in the corner and said nothing, but Marcus could feel her eyes on him. On the 4th night, she finally spoke again. "Your crew," she said. "They are afraid." Marcus looked at Yara and Dex. They were exhausted. Dark circles under their eyes. Hands that shook when they thought no one was watching. She was right. They were afraid. "They have good reason to be," Marcus said. "Yet they stay. They trust me. And you trust yourself?" Marcus was quiet for a moment. "I trust that doing the right thing matters. Even when it is hard. Even when it might get us killed." Alindra leaned forward. "Among my people, everything is a transaction. You save a life. You are owed a life. You give a gift. You expect a gift in return. Balance must be kept. That is the foundation of our culture." "Sounds exhausting," Marcus said. A tiny smile touched her lips. "Just for a moment. Then it was gone." "I have been trying to understand you," she said. "You risk your life for me. You risk your ship and your crew. What do you expect in return?" "Nothing. That is not possible. Everyone wants something." Marcus turned to face her fully. "Where I come from, we have a word for this. We call it kindness. You do something good because it is good. Not because you will get paid. Not because you want power. Just because another person needed help. And you were able to give it." Alindra stared at him like he had just spoken in a dead language. "Kindness," she repeated. "Yes, we have no such word in Zithrani." The 5th day brought the shattered nebula dotted. Was a cloud of gas and electricity, left over from a star that had died 1,000,000 years ago. Ships did not go into the shattered nebula. The energy storms would destroy sensors and fry navigation systems. Flying through it was suicide. Marcus flew straight toward it. "Captain," Dex said, his voice tight with fear. "Tell me you are not thinking what I think you are thinking. The Korath are right behind us. 3 ships. We cannot run them, and we cannot fight them. But they will never follow us in there. Because going in there is insane. Then it is good I am a little insane." The dusty horizon entered the nebula. Immediately, the ship started to shake. Lightning danced across the hull. The lights flickered. Alarms screamed from every console. Marcus gripped the controls and flew by instinct. He could not trust his instruments. He could only trust his eyes and his gut. The ship twisted through valleys of burning gas and mountains of electric fire. Alindra held on to her seat. For the first time since he met her, she looked truly afraid. "You will kill us all," she said. "Maybe," Marcus admitted. "But probably not." An explosion rocked the ship. Something had struck the left engine. Dex ran to fix it. Yara called out warnings that Marcus already knew. They were deep inside a storm that wanted them dead. But Marcus kept flying. He remembered every lesson his father had taught him. Every hour spent in simulators. Every close call that had made him a better pilot. He pulled on all of that now, pushing the old ship harder than it had ever been pushed. After 20 minutes that felt like 20 years, they came out the other side. The stars were calm. The space was empty. Behind them, the shattered nebula glowed with deadly light. No Karth ships had followed. Dex came back to the bridge, covered in grease and breathing hard. Left engine is damaged but working. We are alive. They looked at Marcus with a mix of anger and respect. You are completely crazy. I know. Alindra stood up slowly. She walked to Marcus and stood beside his chair. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she put her hand on his shoulder. The touch was light, but it meant something. You will die for me, she said quietly. It was not a question. Marcus did not look at her. He kept his eyes on the stars ahead. Everybody dies for something, he said. Might as well be something worthwhile. She did not remove her hand, and Marcus did not ask her to. They flew on through the dark. Two strangers from two different worlds, bound together by something that neither of them fully understood. Zithrani space was still 2 days away. But for the first time, Marcus believed they might actually make it. They crossed into Zithrani space on the 6th day. Marcus had never seen anything like it. A fleet of warships appeared around them within seconds. Each one was massive, covered in silver armor and weapons that could crack a planet in half. The dusty horizon was surrounded by enough firepower to end a small war. Do not move, Alindra said. Let me speak to them. She activated the communication system and spoke in her native language. Marcus did not understand the words, but he understood the tone. She was giving orders. She was a princess, and she was reminding these soldiers who they served. The response came quickly. The warships pulled back and formed an escort around the small salvage vessel. A path opened through space, leading toward the Zithrani throne world. Alindra turned to Marcus. You are about to meet my mother. Be careful with your words. She is not like me. You think you have been easy to deal with? Marcus asked. That tiny smile appeared again. It was becoming more common now. The throne world was beautiful and terrifying. It hung in space like a jewel made of ice and light. Towers of crystal reached toward the sky. Cities spread across its surface in perfect geometric patterns. Everything was clean and cold and ordered. The dusty horizon landed in a royal hangar. Soldiers in gleaming armor lined the path from the ship to the palace. Alindra walked ahead, her head held high despite her injuries. Marcus walked behind her with Yara and Dex at his sides. This feels wrong, Dex muttered. Like walking into a trap. Just keep calm, Marcus said. Let me do the talking. That is exactly what worries me. The palace was even more impressive than the planet. Walls of living crystal hummed with soft music. Light came from everywhere and nowhere. Servants moved in perfect silence, their eyes never meeting those of the visitors. They reached the throne. Room Dot. It was a space larger than any building Marcus had ever entered. Pillars of silver rose toward a ceiling so high it looked like another sky. And at the end of the room, on a throne of woven light, sat the Empress. She was tall, even for a Zithrani. Her skin was darker blue than her daughter's, and her silver hair flowed like water down her back. Her eyes were gold, but colder than Alindra's. She looked at Marcus the way a scientist might look at an insect. Mother, Alindra said, dropping to one knee. Rise, the Empress commanded. You are injured. I am alive. Because of this human. The Empress turned her full attention to Marcus. He felt the weight of her gaze like a physical force. Centuries of power and knowledge looked out from those golden eyes. Step forward, human, she said. Marcus walked until he stood at the base of the throne. He did not kneel. He did not know if he was supposed to, but it did not feel right to kneel before anyone. You saved my daughter, the Empress said. You brought her through the Velen expanse, past the Korath hunters, through the shattered nebula. This is unexpected. She needed help, Marcus said. I was nearby. You are either very brave or very stupid. Probably both, Your Majesty. A murmur ran through the court. Dozens of Zithrani nobles watched from the sides of the room, their faces showing shock at his casual tone. The Empress raised one hand, and the room fell silent. Name your price, she said. Marcus blinked. Excuse me? Your payment. You have performed a great service to the throne. My daughter's life is worth more than worlds. Name what you desire, and it will be yours. Wealth beyond counting. A fleet of your own. Territory in any sector you choose. A seat among the noble houses. Speak, and it is done. Marcus felt every eye in the room turn to him. He understood what was happening. This was how the Zithrani worked. Everything was a deal. Every kindness had a price. Every gift demanded something in return. But that was not how Marcus worked. I do not want payment, he said. The silence that followed was absolute. Even the gentle hum of the crystal walls seemed to pause. Explain, the Empress said. Her voice was ice. There is nothing to explain. Your daughter was dying. I helped her. That is what you do when someone needs help. I did not do it for money or power or land. I just did it because it was the right thing to do. The Empress stared at him. Her expression did not change, but something moved behind her eyes. Confusion, perhaps, or calculation. You refuse compensation? I am not refusing anything. There is nothing to refuse. It was not a transaction. It was just helping. One of the nobles stepped forward. He was an older Zithrani with a face like carved stone. Your Majesty, this is unprecedented. The human has rendered service. Service demands payment. If he refuses, the debt remains open. The balance is broken. Other nobles began to speak. The throne room filled with voices, all of them troubled. Marcus did not understand all the words, but he understood the feeling. He had done something that did not fit their world. The Empress raised her hand again. Silence returned. You truly want nothing? She asked Marcus. I want to go back to my ship. I want to continue my life. That is all. And the danger you faced? The damage to your vessel? The risk to your crew? We took those risks because we chose to, not because we expected a reward. The Empress leaned back on her throne. For a long moment, she simply studied him. Then she looked at her daughter. Alindra, what do you think of this human? Alindra stepped forward. I have spent 6 days with him, Mother. I have watched him give me his food while he went hungry. I have watched him sleep 2 hours at a time so he could keep us safe. I have watched him fly into a storm that should have killed us all, just because it was our only chance. She paused. He has a word for what he does. His people call it kindness. We have no word for it because we do not understand it. But I am beginning to. The Empress was silent for a very long time. Finally, she spoke. You may go, human. Your ship will be repaired. Your supplies will be restocked. You will not be harmed in Zithrani space. Thank you, Marcus said. This is not payment. This is courtesy. The deck remains open. Marcus nodded, though he did not really understand what she meant. He turned to leave. His crew followed. They had almost reached the door when the Empress spoke one last time. Human, what is your name? He stopped and looked back. Marcus Cole. Marcus Cole, I will remember that name. It sounded like a promise and a warning all at once. Marcus walked out of the throne room, out of the palace, and back toward his ship. He did not know it yet, but he had started something that would change the galaxy forever, all because he refused to name his price. Marcus spent the night in guest quarters near the royal hangar. The room was beautiful, with walls that shifted color like living art and furniture that seemed to read his thoughts and adjust to his comfort. But he could not sleep. He kept thinking about the look in the Empress's eyes. She had not been angry. She had been confused. In 1,000 years of rule, no one had ever refused her payment. Yara knocked on his door an hour before dawn. "Ship is almost ready," she said. "Dex is finishing the last repairs." The Zivrani engineers did good work. Better than good, actually. The dusty horizon has never run this smooth. Good. The sooner we leave, the better. Yara studied his face. "You okay, Captain?" "Fine. Just tired." She did not believe him, but she did not push. That was one of the things he liked about Yara. She knew when to give him space. He was packing his small bag when another knock came. This one was softer. He opened the door and found Princess Alindra standing in the hallway. She had changed. Gone were the torn and bloody robes. Now she wore a simple dress of deep blue, and her silver hair was clean and flowing free. The wound on her side was still there, hidden beneath bandages, but she moved more easily than before. "May I come in?" she asked. Marcus stepped aside. She walked past him and stood by the window, looking out at the lights of the city below. "I could not sleep either," she said. "Your mother keeping you up?" "My thoughts keeping me up." "Thoughts about you?" Marcus sat on the edge of the bed. "What kind of thoughts?" Alindra turned to face him. In the soft light of the room, her golden eyes seemed to glow. "I have been alive for 200 years, she said. "In that time, I have learned many things. I have studied the cultures of 100 species. I have mastered languages, sciences, arts of war and peace. I thought I understood how the universe worked." She paused. "Then you came along and broke everything I thought I knew. I did not mean to cause trouble. That is exactly the problem. You did not mean anything. You simply acted. You saw someone in danger and you helped. No calculation. No expectation. Just action." She walked closer to him. Her movements were graceful, like water flowing over stone. "Among my people, an unpaid debt is a chain. It binds the soul. It weighs on every thought, every decision, every moment of life. If you will not name a price, then I carry that weight forever. My honor, my identity, my very sense of self demands balance." "I am sorry," Marcus said. "I did not know." "Of course you did not know. How could you? Your people do not think this way." She knelt before him, bringing her eyes level with his. "So I have been trying to find another way. A way to close the circle without forcing you to accept payment. And did you find one?" She reached into a pocket of her dress and pulled out a small object. It was a crystal, about the size of his thumb, glowing with soft inner light. Colors moved inside it like captured dreams. "Do you know what this is?" she asked. Marcus shook his head. "It is called a soul stone. It is the most sacred object in Zivrani culture. We create them only once in our lives, usually at the moment of our greatest joy or deepest sorrow. A piece of our essence, our soul, becomes trapped in the crystal. It holds our truth forever." She held it out to him. "This is mine. I created it the night my father died, when I was only 30 years old. It holds my grief, my love, my promise to become worthy of his memory. I have never shown it to anyone, not even my mother." Marcus did not move. "I cannot take that." "You can. And you will. Because this is not payment, Marcus Cole. This is a gift." "What is the difference?" "Payment closes a transaction. Both sides walk away equal, and the connection ends. But a gift?" She smiled, and this time the smile was real and warm and beautiful. "A gift creates a bond that can never be closed. By giving you something that cannot be repaid, I am not erasing my debt. I am transforming it. We are no longer debtor and creditor. We are something else. What are we? I do not know the word in your language. In mine, we would say Vershella. It means two souls that have chosen to be connected, not by obligation, but by free will. By trust. She pressed the soul stone into his hands. It was warm, like holding a tiny son. You gave me my life without asking for anything in return, she said. Now I give you my soul without asking for anything in return. The balance is not in what we exchange. The balance is in the freedom of the giving. Marcus looked at the crystal in his hands. He could feel something inside it. A pulse like a heartbeat. A whisper of emotion that was not his own. This is too much, he said. It is exactly enough. Alindra stood up and stepped back. I have spent 6 days learning about your people. I read everything in your ship's database. History, literature, philosophy. I thought I was studying a primitive species. Instead, I found something beautiful. What did you find? A people who do not count the cost of helping others. A people who run into burning buildings to save strangers. A people who give their lives for ideas like freedom and justice and love. We called you young and foolish. We were wrong. You are something we have forgotten how to be. Marcus stood up. The soul stone sat in his palm like a promise. I do not know what to say. You do not need to say anything. Just take it. Keep it. Remember that somewhere in the galaxy, a Zithrani princess carries a piece of you in her heart, just as you now carry a piece of her in your hand. She walked toward the door. Her hand touched the handle. Alindra, Marcus said. She stopped but did not turn around. Thank you. Now she turned. Her golden eyes were bright with something that might have been tears. Thank you, Marcus Cole, for showing me that kindness is not weakness. For showing me that giving without taking is not foolishness. For showing me what it means to be truly human. She opened the door and walked out into the hallway. The door closed behind her. Marcus stood alone in the room, holding a princess's soul in his hands. Outside, the Zithrani sky was beginning to lighten. A new day was coming. He did not know it yet, that this night had changed more than just two people. It had planted a seed that would grow across the galaxy, changing how the Zithrani saw humanity, changing how humanity saw itself, all because a tired captain on a broken ship had answered a distress call in the dark. All because he had been kind without counting the cost, and all because a princess had learned that some gifts are worth more than payment could ever be. 6 months had passed since Marcus Cole left the Zithrani throne world. He had returned to his life on the dusty horizon, salvaging wrecks and selling parts, sleeping in his captain's chair, eating meals that came from packages. Nothing had changed for him, or so he told himself, but everything had changed around him. The story of the human who saved the Zithrani princess spread faster than light. It moved from ship to ship, station to station, world to world. Traders told it in cantinas. Diplomats whispered it in meeting rooms. News channels played it on repeat for weeks. A human had saved the life of a royal princess. He had refused payment. He had asked for nothing. At first, no one believed it. The galaxy ran on transactions. Everyone knew that. You gave, you took, you kept score. That was how things worked. The idea that someone would risk everything for a stranger and want nothing in return seemed impossible. But the Empress herself confirmed the story. She issued a statement that was broadcast across her entire empire. The human called Marcus Cole performed a service that cannot be measured, she said. And when offered any reward in existence, he asked only to return to his simple life. I do not understand this choice, but I respect it, and I order all Zithrani to study it. The reaction was immediate. Zivrani scholars began requesting access to human archives. They wanted to understand these strange creatures who seemed to operate on rules no one else followed. They read human literature, studied human history, analyzed human philosophy. What they found surprised them. Humans have been doing this for thousands of years. They had words like charity and sacrifice and compassion. They had built entire organizations dedicated to helping strangers. They had people who devoted their lives to others without any hope of reward. The Zivrani had none of these things. Their culture was built on balance and exchange. The idea of giving without receiving was not just strange to them. It was almost unthinkable, but now they were thinking about it. Trade agreements between human and Zivrani worlds became easier. Borders that had been closed for centuries started to open. Human merchants were welcomed into Zivrani markets. Human diplomats were invited to Zivrani councils. And through it all, one name kept being spoken: Marcus Cole. He did not know any of this. He was in a repair dock at a small station on the edge of human space when a Zivrani cruiser appeared. It was not a warship, but it was still impressive. Silver and graceful, it moved like a dancer through the crowded space around the station. Marcus watched from his bridge as a shuttle left the cruiser and flew toward his ship. "We have visitors," Yara said. "I noticed." The shuttle docked. Marcus walked down to the cargo bay to meet whoever was coming. He expected soldiers, maybe diplomats. He did not expect Alendra. She walked onto his ship like she belonged there. She had changed again. Gone was the formal dress of the palace. Now she wore simple traveling clothes, practical and plain. Her silver hair was tied back. Her golden eyes were warm. "Hello, Marcus," she said. "Princess." "Just Alindra, please." He led her to the small common area where his crew ate their meals. Dex and Yara made themselves scarce, giving them privacy. "Why are you here?" Marcus asked. "Because I wanted to see you, and because I wanted to show you something." She pulled out a small device and set it on the table. A holographic image appeared above it. It showed a building, large and beautiful, standing in the center of a Zivrani city. "Do you know what this is?" she asked. Marcus shook his head. "It is called the House of Kindness. My mother built it 3 months ago. It is a place where Zivrani can give to others without expecting anything in return. Food, shelter, medicine, education. All free. All given as gifts." Marcus stared at the image. "The Empress built this?" "She did. There are now 12 of them across our empire, with more being planned every day. They are changing everything, Marcus. Our people are learning something they never knew before. The joy of giving. The peace of helping without counting." She smiled at him. "You did this. One act of kindness from one human on one small ship. And now an entire civilization is learning to be better." Marcus did not know what to say. He had never wanted to be famous or important. He had just done what felt right. "There is more," Alindra said. "The Empress has sent me as a special ambassador to human space. My mission is to learn from your people, to understand the culture that created someone like you, and to build bridges between our civilizations that have never existed before." "That sounds like a big job." "It is. And I need help." She looked at him with those golden eyes. "I need a guide. Someone who can show me what it means to be human. Someone who can teach me about kindness and sacrifice and compassion." "You want me to be your guide?" "I want you to be my friend. My Vershella. If that word still means anything to you." Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out the soul stone. He had carried it with him every day since she gave it to him. He had never told anyone about it, but it was always there, warm against his heart. "It means everything to me," he said. Alendra's smile grew brighter. She reached out and took his hand. "Then show me your galaxy, Marcus Cole," Show me your people. Show me why humanity is worth believing in. He looked at her hand in his. It was cool and smooth, so different from his own rough skin. But it fit perfectly. All right, he said. But I should warn you. My ship is not very comfortable. The food is bad. And Dex snores. I have survived worse. Yes, you have. They stood together in the small common room of a battered salvage vessel. Outside, the stars burned cold and bright. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was changing because one man had refused to name his price. Marcus hung the soulstone beside his navigation console, where it glowed softly in the darkness of space. A princess's trust made crystal. A promise that kindness mattered. A reminder that even in a universe of transactions and calculations, some things could not be bought or sold. They were only given, freely, completely, without expectation. That was what humans did. That was what made them different. That was why a mighty empire had started to change. And as the dusty horizon left the station and flew out into the endless night, Marcus Cole realized something. He had never asked for payment, but he had received something worth more than all the wealth in the galaxy. He had received proof